Hey, good morning. My name is Remy Sharp, and in this episode of rattling on to a car dashboard, I was thinking about React again. So I started so bit of context. I am the sole developer and maintainer at the moment of jsbin.com. Now this project is currently, or the version you'll see if you go to jsbin.com is it's just kind of vanilla JavaScript. It's got some jQuery in there. It was written in 2007, I think it was 2008, something like that. And it's evolved over time, and it's one kind of big glob of concatenated scripts that make up all the code that does everything on the page. And jQuery plays a very small part in the software architecture. Most of it is kind of hand-rolled. There is a code mirror. Anyway, so 2 years ago, or in fact probably maybe more than that, maybe 2.5 years ago, I started a refactor of the project because the code is pretty unmaintainable. I say I maintain the project, I maintain the servers. I rarely change the actual code. But I started a refactor into using React. And I figured that it would be a good kind of practice project for me, to get kind of experiment with React, and it was going fairly well. It's called version 5. You can actually you can try it out. I've been using it for a good while now, but it was written before hooks came out. And it's not finished. It uses React and Redux for all its state. And I think about how I write React based software today, and I very rarely use Redux anymore because hooks gives me a lot of what I would normally go to Redux for state. So it's kind of weird. I've got this project that hasn't finished, is about 2 years old, and is already running on code that is out of date, or an architecture that's out of date. Like, I literally need to refactor my React because I wrote it 2 years ago. 2 years doesn't feel like a very long amount of time. And it makes me think, like, is that... Well, I've been thinking about it, like, why is it that I need to refactor? And I mean, I can probably get away with not refactoring, right? I can probably get away with just still using Redux and React as it is, but I know that moving a code base kind of to modern like paradigms and makes a lot of sense, right? So I should refactor it to using hooks, but that's a whole fucking load of work. I'll have to gut out a ton of the work I've done already, and hooks feels pretty new. The fact that it's made a lot of my code redundant after such a short amount of time makes me worry genuinely that 2-year-old code is going to become redundant. And it makes me think of the people that had Angular projects. I met with a client like a good few years ago now, but they had a project that was entirely in Angular 1. They'd moved to Angular 1.2 or 1.3, something like that. And Angular 2 was coming out, and it was just like, they can't move to it. It's such a massive overhaul of their code base to get to that newer version, to get back onto the kind of the stream of modern code, that they just couldn't do it. And the code was kind of stranded. And so it makes me think, like, is this the thing? I've always been a bit wary of big chunky frameworks or libraries like React, more particularly around React, Ember, Polymer. For some reason, I don't feel the same thing towards Vue, but I feel like maybe it's the same category. I'm not sure. But where there's so much of the software lives inside of a framework that's outside of my control, that maybe what I'm looking for is a very thin layer of help from JavaScript libraries. And this is what jQuery did for me back in the day. It would give me just a few of the bits that I needed to really stabilize the browser APIs. You know, the way that I was interacting with the DOM, it needed stabilizing, it needed normalization, and it needed to be optimized. Like, trying to navigate the DOM without a query selector was a right old pain in the backside. Although, to be fair, one way around it would be to put an ID on everything. But it was, yeah, jQuery. It also came with what's it? The Ajax library and animation library, two small kind of distinct solutions. Whereas if I'm developing a project that's based in React, it's a React project. I can't just strip out the React bit or the library and hope that it'll be okay. It doesn't work like that. You need all of React for this to work, which is, I guess, Vue probably is the same. Well, anyway, yeah, so I've been thinking the idea of refactoring React at such a early stage in this project, 2 years. I mean, that is an infancy level project. And then the second thing, am I actually looking for software that is much thinner? You know, maybe what I'm looking for is something like the HTM project, which gives me kind of a sort of a DOM, but I don't know. Anyway, the thought of refactoring React at such a young age is fucking bullshit. So yeah, that's what I've been thinking about lately, as well as taking a break. Fucked my back up again, and it hurts. Bye.